I had never really thought about it in that way, that, philosophy isn't just on the chalkboard. I'm not saying I never thought about that. I don't know, but philosophy is not just on the chalkboard. It's actually applying it when you need to in your real life, when you have these emotional reactions. Like,
right.
What can change the emotional reactions? What is it? What is the solution that I can know that to not feel jealousy?
Right. Talking to a friend the other day who said to me, I'd honestly never thought about this. She said, when your sex life is going great, it feels like it's only 5% of your life. And when your sex life is awful, it feels like it's 95% of your life. She also imagines, and I've really talked about this with you cerebrally, and by the way, I don't get angry in response. Like, when she's screaming at me, I'm not screaming back at her, which also
totally
it makes
rational.
it even more right. I'm like, But like, one of the other things I've sometimes debated with you about this is that you also always imagine that these women feel as powerfully attracted to me as you felt when you first fell in love with me.
Yeah, because I just think that's natural. Because
right. No, but like it's like way fewer than 1% of women find me this attractive. Like, I do not have delusions about that. It doesn't matter if it's 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 or 1 in a million. Not that many. Like, Melissa really is very naturally. We're very compatible. We have a lot of chemistry. And from the first time we met, even before we met, she was super attracted to me and so on.
Yeah.
But like, she really imagines, or at least when she's in this state, that all women feel that way about me. What's actually
that you're irresistible.
Right. No, and like, I've had to say to her sometimes, like, look, I'm talking to this person, and like, whatever. Sometimes I show you screenshots or something, but like, there's no indication that this person is attracted to me. Like, there's no indication the conversation is going to go that way, or like, have you considered the possibility that this person just thinks I'm ugly? Or they're just like, or is only interested in talking to me about whatever the topic is. Like, if you consider the possibility. I remember you even had a jealous reaction. You may not remember this. So there was an older woman who was one of my coworkers in China, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about the one who lived downstairs from us and who saw them, right? And early on, she said to me in a folksy way. So this is an older woman older than me, not to mention older than Melissa. She said to me in a folksy way. She was like, "Well, like, if you weren't with Melissa, I'd be trying to get into bed with you myself," right? Now, I think she was. I mean, she was joking, but I think she was genuinely interested. She was genuinely indicating that she was attracted to me. But like, there are certain kinds of humor that married people 50 years old use, and it's not really that big a deal. It's not like a real threat coming at you, But I remember I told you that, even like, when you knew her and stuff, you guys got along. And, I remember you had this real visceral jealous reaction. I mean, look, maybe that's the most reasonable, but that's very different because that's someone you knew face to face. Whereas sometimes it's just a line of text on the internet or something or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, it's really a problem.
So, another question, look, I know you have a lot to say. Do you think it's more of a problem or less if it's someone I'm talking to about, like, Plato, Aristotle, or, like, I'm going to do more and more political content, civil war in Syria or something? Like, do you think it's intellectual jealousy? Do you think it's just about human beauty, or what?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
Because I'm not jealous of your ex-wife,
Yes, I know.
She's a lot more educated than I am, especially when...
It's hard to be jealous of myself. Go on, yeah. It's a pretty unenviable life she's put herself into, yeah.
But, and it just seems to be, like, about everything, too, just, like, maturity, too, like...
Oh, yeah.
Like, other, like, women who are older,
that's true.
I've been even more concerned because, like, I think that you must have so much more in common with them, or, like, that they've had the experience that I haven't had, and that's... To me, that's attractive, the experience factor.
Because you're into older men. You're into me. I mean, it's true. Yeah. But not everyone's into that, right?
Yeah. And, but of course, it's a huge part of it is physical beauty. I'm not going to lie about that.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. I mean, it's so shallow and selfish and dumb.
But look,
because
these are the kinds of philosophical questions I've dealt with since forever. So like I can give an answer to any of these questions. But if someone were to ask you, look, physical beauty is arbitrary and unequal. And it's not like arithmetically unequal, it's exponentially unequal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Which is to say it's not like one person is 5% more attractive than someone else. Like those two sisters, one person is 10,000 times more attractive, infinitely more attractive than someone else.
Yeah.
Even though they've got approximately the same DNA. Mm-hmm. And but I remember I saw a model posing with her like 4 sisters, so it was like a family with 4 or 5 sisters, and you could see, oh yeah, that's the one who had a career in modeling. And not even though they're genetically very similar.
Yeah.
Like right out of these 5 sisters, one of you had a shot at being a model. Like often there's that kind of inequality. That's talking about commercialized beauty, not romantic beauty, really, not the same thing. But I'm just saying, so you can see those kinds of things all the time. But sorry, my point was, if I were to ask you, what is the solution? And obviously we mean on a human, personal level. What is the solution for you and me or individual people in the audience? What is the solution to the problem of this arbitrary and radical inequality?
Yeah. Yeah, well, an example, you could cut this out because this may just be too hot for YouTube.
Let's hear it.
And it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like it really doesn't matter. So this is like
so stop. Okay, yeah. We're gonna have to cut. So this is after the censored portion.
Okay.
But look, let me ask you this. So you're someone who basically has not watched pornography in your life. It's not that you've seen zero, but you are never someone. Yeah. Do you think it would, at this stage of your life, make your experience of jealousy worse? Or do you think it would be a kind of ergative therapy, meaning a working through of these things, to watch pornography? And now I've got to put in a little philosophical caveat here. I said this to you, I think this morning. Like, I don't tell you you're the greatest musician in the world. I don't tell you you're a super talented musician, right? But because I don't believe it. Like, I think, right, yeah, okay, you can, you know what I mean? You're a musician. I'm not going to tell you you're the most brilliant, gifted musician. Well, it's not my, but,
yeah.
Okay. And we could do songs together, great. But, I'm not going to lie to you like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you watch any kind of mainstream media, like even TV shows that just have music in the background, or hit records on the radio, you're always being exposed to the minority of people who are extraordinarily talented musicians or extraordinarily well produced and composed music, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in the same way, your exposure to models and advertising and mainstream media and pornography, it's
seeing the
right. You're seeing the most beautiful people and the men with the biggest penises in the whole world, and this kind of thing. It's not representative, right? Yeah. And of course, the funny thing, I mean, I think almost everyone would agree to this. Not everyone would, but a lot of people would. The thing is also, because of the internet, you can watch pornography of normal people. Mm-hmm. You can watch like real grody amateur pornography, and most people find it disgusting and disturbing, because exactly what they want is the aesthetic quality of professional filmmaking that in many ways begins with professional casting, with select the people and having all their body hair removed and all these things and the lighting.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, above all else, the size and the shape of the performers, male and female. Mm-hmm. But like, would that, I mean, like, it's kind of weird. So like, given that almost by definition, if you're watching pornography, you're watching people more attractive than yourself.
Yeah, right.
Unless you really choose not to, which is an option. Like, is that going to make, jealousy better or worse?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. I don't know. And I think, I was really thinking about it analytically last night after we stopped recording, because I had never really thought about it in that way, that, philosophy isn't just on the chalkboard. I'm not saying I never thought about that. I don't know, but philosophy is not just on the chalkboard. It's actually applying it when you need to in your real life, when you have these emotional reactions. Like,
right.
What can change the emotional reactions? What is it? What is the solution that I can know that to not feel jealousy,
right.
to not have this feeling? And I'm desperate, like I'm desperate because it's been such a shitty thing in my life. It's it's like a shameful part
and the emotional breakdowns are still really extreme. They're really extreme, and they're kind of meaningless too, because like there are issues we deal with in the relationship where it's like, well, look, like there is something meaningful here. Like there's something, there's something significant here I can see you're dealing with. There's something to learn from it, the process. But when you have these kinds of breakdowns, most of the time there's really, like at the end of it, it's like, what did we just spend so many hours talking about? Yeah. Like, in one case, it was like literally like someone sent a comment on Twitter, like saying they'd like to sleep with me. Like, and obviously I didn't control this, like, and again, and there was no photograph of what she looked like. There was nothing, right? And, obviously she could be joking, but in that case, I think it probably was sincere, which is okay. But, like, what do you want? One person out of 1,000 finds me attractive or something, because I'm not deluded. Like, it's whatever, whether it's 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000, and made a comment on Twitter saying, they'd be interested.
Yeah.
And again, like this one female coworker who's married with kids and is like about 50, like whatever, like, it is what it is. But,
the whole point is human sexuality is tragic in that you can't really help how you feel about somebody, and I'd rather you be honest with me if you are sexually attracted to somebody, and if it is relevant to, of course,
right? Yeah,
you don't have to tell me everything. I don't know. It's only in these circumstances, because of our relationship status, it's only because,
Something I'd never thought of. I was talking to a friend the other day who said to me, I'd honestly never thought about this. She said, when your sex life is going great, it feels like it's only 5% of your life. And when your sex life is awful, it feels like it's 95% of your life. Yeah. And that's the reason I'd never thought of that, is because when my sex life is going great, I'm spending a lot of hours having sex, right? Like, you know what I mean? So I'd actually never thought, but it's true about perception and feeling, right? Because it's true. Like, we have periods of time where we're having enormous quantities of sex, but still I can say, like, from my perspective, like, this isn't really important in my life. Mm-hmm. Like, what I'm worried about is philosophy and politics and education and career. This is the stuff I'm worrying about and thinking about, even if, like, literally, like, well, like, I don't watch normal TV. I don't play video games. Like, sex is my only hobby. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was a really interesting thing in framing it also, yeah.
I feel the same way, even though I know it's not, I know I haven't had enough, like, action to show that, like, I do care about all these same things. Like, of course, like, I do, but I have these problems, man. But no, like, I don't know.
So, look, I mean, I'll just restate the question.
What you said is I don't have the virtues that I say I do, but, I do actually want to learn more, and I'm always, like in our relationship, at least, like, I've always been wanting that time where I'm, like, totally into studying, like, totally into getting work done, and I felt like for, like, a couple months there, like, I was really reading philosophy, but...
Okay, look, wait, so this brings me back to actually what I was driving before. So, like I said to you, I already have an answer for this, but I'm asking you, like, what is the solution if you ask, okay, what is the solution to the problem of beauty being arbitrary and unequal this way, right? Yeah. Now, part of my solution that I would propose, like, if I have a friend, I've had friends who were really unattractive for various reasons, like, including, like, born conditions, right? Yeah. But if I'm talking to a friend like that or whatever, like, and this has been implicit in a lot of my advice to you also, is, look, you got to become substantial in other ways, like intellectually, where you really have a sense of self-confidence and worth and meaning in your life. You're leading a meaningful life for these other reasons, right? So, that could be many things. It can't be anything. I mean, I don't believe it can be something like video games or skiing. I don't think it'd be something totally self-indulgent. But, whether your interest, it's not going to be politics for everyone. It's not going to be philosophy for everyone. Whether it's, but whatever it is, where you've got to be devoted to some area, I think, ultimately, of learning. It's about learning. Whether or not you think of it as scholarly or something, where you're building up expertise and you're really leading a meaningful life in a way that's not about your appearance. And I think, that's kind of what most people say to hideously ugly people is like, well, look, you're never going to be a model. You're never going to get ahead that way. You're never going to get ahead as a model or an actor, but you can really have a sense of self-dignity and worth and self-esteem. And then also when you're leading that kind of meaningful life, you're probably going to meet other people who also find those things meaningful, and maybe some of them are going to want to sleep with you. I mean, so I just say on a really broad level, that's how I tend to approach the topic. So what's interesting is in this case, it's within a relationship. You're getting laid. It's not that you're an incel or something. It's not that your sex life is lacking. But a lot of my approach has been like, look, you've got to build up some sense of self-confidence and depth and substance and expertise and self-worth that's not based on how pretty you are. Because it seems to me you're so rattled by just the presence of other beautiful women around me or talking to me or whatever. I'm guessing to some extent it's because you lack that. But I think I'm wrong. Like, one of the things I got to say is I don't even think that diagnosis is correct in your case. I think it's probably good advice for a lot of people watching this. I don't think it's true in your case. I don't think that solution works, and I don't think that framing of the problem applies well to your case.
You've talked about the fact that some people who are beautiful, their intellectual capacity has been stifled or snuffed out because they're only seen as something to be looked upon,
and just the opportunities it brings them there.
That has not been the case for me. Of course, I was never thought of as somebody beautiful in high school or university.
But even look, there was a girl. The very short version of it. There was a girl who fell in love with me in high school. She was a year older than me, so she started university, and I was still in high school. And she became a stripper, and she dropped out of university to be a stripper, right? Yeah. So, in case you're not guessing, I did not reciprocate her love. I did not fall in love with her.
Yeah.
My whole life would be different if I had, right? Mm-hmm. In a very real sense, just the opportunity to make hundreds of dollars an hour. I mean, the amount of money she made as a stripper was vastly more than, any job she could have gotten with nothing but a high school diploma. Not every young woman in her university class faced that temptation or that option.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, like I'm just saying, obviously, there are a million examples, there are a million ways in which it impacts your life. But in her case, and I knew her really well at that time. It wasn't like she was in love with me from afar. I knew the other factors, and she was really in a cycle of kind of self-loathing and self-pity and, smoking a lot of cigarettes and she was getting into stripping. Probably also what it did for her ego was probably a big thing too. It gave her a ton of money, and suddenly every night she's around men telling her she's so beautiful and stuff. Whatever. I don't know if she was 19 or what. Okay, well, not everyone deals with that. And
what you said, thinking about other people's lives is in a sympathetic way, and not saying their lives are easier. I did have friends who were corrupted because they were very beautiful,
right?
And I agree with what you're saying on that front. It was something I said out of, I don't know, rage and feeling like injustice that pretty people have better lives,
right?
When it's not necessarily true, because I just want to say, I want to emphasize that my life has not been about being beautiful in any way. Like, I only had one, I didn't have a boyfriend all throughout high school, and I knew many girls who were spending their time thinking about, relationships with boys, and that did have a corrupting influence on how when they went to college, what they went to university for, if they got a further degree. Yes, of course, it has a huge impact on your life. It has a huge impact on the trajectory of what you do. Absolutely. And I don't know why I don't think about it in that way, and I think I really should try to think of the individual and think of,
right.
I guess the number one thing, I think your advice is good for people that are trying to find a partner. or try to have their own confidence in their own intellectual capabilities. And I think it's good advice for me too, of course.
Well, it's not going to harm you, but I don't think it solves this problem. I don't think it solves
this problem. Is in particular my feeling like I really think it's just insecurity about like I have no reason like logically to think this because you've put so much time into our relationship. You've really been doting, like you talked me through so many things, and we've moved together and we're moving again together. Your life has really like our lives have revolved around each other the past 2 years. So yeah, I have no reason to think that you're going to leave me. Well, I mean, okay, I sort of do recently because it's been so bad.
Yeah.
Now I like at the start of the relationship, I felt this way. At the start of this relationship, I was worried that you were going to find someone more beautiful than me, someone with larger breasts. I'm just being honest. Like that is a huge factor because I was born with small breasts. It's totally shallow, and I know even some people find it more attractive. And I realized that there are advantages and disadvantages.
Sure.
The advantages are numerous.
Right.
Disadvantages are also numerous.
But I mean, I just mentioned, but all these things, they're kind of bottomless. There's always someone with bigger breasts than you.
Yeah.
There's always someone with a bigger penis than you. There's always someone with more money than you. All those things. Or even
someone with more background that relates to your background. Someone
who's more compatible with me or something, or more,
right, in so many ways.
Someone who's smarter than you.
Yeah,
sure.
So
all
even
those
from
things.
the start of the relationship, when I had no reason to think because of the problems that we've had, you were going to leave me. But now I really do have reason to believe that, and it's even like I wasn't expecting, because I felt like I had been working, like I felt like I'd been improving with jealousy. I really thought I had, but then like because we've been having so many relationship difficulties, I was like, well, this is the time. If you were going to leave me, it would be now because you're basically on the cusp of leaving me. So like if somebody more beautiful, more studies Chinese, like has been to Laos, has been to China, yeah, hell yeah, you're gonna jump off and get on somebody else's ship, not mine. Because why do you want to come down with me? It's burning. The ship is burning with me.
Right.
So go on to somebody else's ship.
But
that is really why it's the insecurity of you leaving me and me never finding somebody that I love as much as you. Rationally, that doesn't even help. It doesn't help the situation.
My question is, what you've just presented is really a clearly reasoned narrative. Like that makes sense. When I'm with you and you're freaking out and screaming,
you're like, no.
But my point is, like, that's what you're saying now, reflecting on it. Yeah. I don't really believe that's what's going on with you when you have these freak out. Look, what you just presented was a totally rational train of thought, like, well, because I've pushed you to the brink with breaking up with me already, because therefore I feel this way. But I just say in terms of the feeling and then the behavior that comes out of it, that doesn't seem to be what's actually going on. So I'm just saying what you've just said, that could kind of be addressed and that could be fixed. But I think that would not be, it wouldn't fix the problem. We can even just see within the span of this relationship.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.